risk assets like emerging markets, are they the ones to benefit the most as risk appetite increases?
Yes, to a certain extent. And the advantage of emerging markets, in particular Asia, is of course that we're the first ones to getting out of this kind of earnings recession that we had in the first part of the year. China was first to recover. That was in Q2, Q3. We saw Korea, Taiwan also starting to do very good. And more recently, we see earnings upgrades coming through in large parts of ASEAN as well, and even a little bit in India. So net, we are starting to get out of this sharp shock that we had in the first half of 2020. And that's of course an additional positive as well. Now you have continued low interest rates. That's quite positive for Asian equities as well. So there's a lot of factors that start to fall in place, or have been falling in place, it's probably better to say, that all support Asian equities. And that's where you can add the additional risk to a global portfolio.
How exactly do we play this recovery story we're seeing in Asia? Is it too late, you think, to get into some of the value plays which have been rising?
No, I don't really think so. Actually, I think there's a lot of catch up to do. Across 2020, it was the year of the rat. The rats move in all kinds of different directions. So we've seen stocks also moving in all kinds of different directions. Next year is the year of the ox, and ox pretty much more like herds together. So I think the ones that are really ready to wait from the herd in 2020, they're going to be a little bit slower, and the ones that really have been behind need to catch up, and that will take a bit of time to work itself through. ASEAN markets are still down to a certain extent. A lot of ASEAN stocks are still down. And if you look in markets in Thailand, for example, something like over 80% of the stocks are still trading the average that we've seen since the beginning of the year. So there's a lot of companies that still need can still perform. I think this will take quite some time before that really has played out. So we continue to balance value and growth, like markets such as Korea and Hong Kong, and selected ASEAN markets.
Is the picture that rosy in 2021? Are you worried about any risk that could be looming on the horizon?
There are always risks, and the key risks that I would be looking for is one, that we have a major setback in the rollout of these vaccines. At the moment, people work in the assumption that in 2021, we're going to see some vaccines, and that maybe at some particular point in time, we're going to see large parts of the world where immunity starts to be prevalent. That could change for whatever reasons that we don't know yet. Two other reasons are that China is the first one to come out of this, but maybe it might also say that at some particular point in time, some of the growth is going to flatten out just when other parts of the world are going to see an acceleration in earnings growth. So that's something we've got to keep an eye on. And somewhat related to this is a third risk, and these are all risks, these are not our base scenarios, but what if, for example, we would suddenly see a sharpening or a sharp appreciation in the US dollar? That is not good for Asian equity markets.